welcoming all our viewers to International Affairs, last of this week, being broadcasted here from the SATV's Gulshan studio. I'm going to be the host of the program today. Many updates from around the world, one of them definitely taking to the social media circles. Iran, in his X handle, has stated regarding California, definitely mentioning the state of California as an Iranian territory. This comes after Donald Trump had mentioned, the U.S. president mentioning the Strait of Hormuz as a new U.S. territory, and many more narratives that are being played at this very moment. In addition to that, we also see that the U.S. has 3 aircraft carriers in the Middle East for the first time ever since 2003. Noted being in 2003, there was attacks on Iraq, as we see it, as we know from history pages as well. Before jumping into the discussions, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Major Retired Del H. Khan. He is, of course, an author, a geopolitical analyst, as well as a politician. Sir, I welcome you on to the program.
Thank you.
Alongside, so much. I will have Norman Floyd Barnes, all the way from Washington, District of Columbia, beginning the discussion today with you, Norman. A very good morning to you. We see Donald Trump tit for tat kind of relationship with Iran as the ceasefire and the 60-day period has ended. The both nations are looking at in a limbo at this very moment. As I just mentioned, that there were 3 aircraft carriers in the Middle East. Many are suspecting that much more escalation is presumably going to happen in the next few weeks and months. I want to pass it to you, Norman. What are some of the updates that you have all the way from Washington? A very good morning to you.
Good morning. Today we wake up to another day of, like I said, the rhetoric between the United States and Iran. I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, back and forth. I'm claiming this, I'm claiming California, I'm claiming the Strait. So a lot more just talking, but not much positive action. While the prices of everything is going up, the economy is, is not improving, and to much surprise, the U.S. debt rate now is up to $40 trillion right now. We have a debt of $40 trillion. That's a large number. I can't even count that far, and it looks like it's going to increase. We don't see any type of changes in that. The cost of living, the cost of programs, they say the cost of Social Security, all of this stuff is adding to that, and of course the cost of war. The United States is piling up the debt, and you mentioned about 3 aircraft carriers in the region, staging for some type of military action. Is unknown right now exactly what does the 3 aircraft carriers in the same region of the world means, but I can tell you that there's a lot of military manpower in one area for nothing to occur. So right now everybody's very quiet, very slow in response, and it appears that this conflict that we have in the Middle East is going to continue. There's no light in the tunnel about peace. Peace is actually off the table right now. Right now, we're expecting some type of military action before the November election to basically show that we are actually engaging, trying to improve the situation, but at the same time, we are not proving to the people in the United States that we are justified about being there. Over almost 70% of the United States public do not agree with what we are doing in the Middle East in terms of our government and military.
Right. Excellent responses coming from Norman Floyd Barnes. Really, the slowdown is quite so apparent. Even the news seems to be coming in less this week, as we've seen for all the 6 months that we've seen this war continue. Coming to the studio with Del H. Khan. Sir, I want to get a comment from you, especially regarding the narrative, the mindset of US President Donald Trump. He is claiming a strategic waterway as a US territory, and you've heard me say regarding California from the Iranian side. And as per the latest news, the US President Donald Trump is saying that he will launch tougher economic measures against Iran, as well as any country that helps or does business with the country. That would definitely bring in Russia and China to the mixture. Just to ask you how you feel about this war. 6 months has gone by, numerous lives lost, proxy wars in Lebanon, and Yemen has continued in the background as well. How do you analyze this kind of situation?
Thank you so much. Let's start with the Truth Social post
Please.
and rebuttal from Iran. So it is started by Donald Trump, of course. He claimed that Hormuz is a new part of US territory, and satirically Iran also said that California is their part of territory. And of course we all understand that perhaps why California, that was the question.
Right.
Because a good number of Iranian actually stays in that part of US America. So this part is a source of satire, but having a deeper meaning, because as you have just mentioned that after that claim of Donald Trump, immediately news popped up that 3 aircraft carriers are now roaming around Middle East.
Right.
So sometimes we feel that he is making a joke out of the situation, but then we find that okay, there was something, because even his Truth Social post was reposted by White House official post handle.
Right.
So the situation in the Middle East is now in a state of I should say silent and loud. Both way tug of war is going on. You see, be it Operation Midnight Hammer last year, or be it the Epic Fury going on this year, both the time the objective of a US military or the coalition force of USA and Israel was toppling down the regime and then crash the nuclear capability of Iran. Right. And finally, to ensure that they do not have any military capacity, including their missile, drone, and proxy capacities, as you have already mentioned.
Right.
But thing is that last year it was a 12 days war, and there was no definite result. And this year, it seems that Iran was quite prepared for this. And surprisingly, this has become an attrition war for USA. They thought that by bringing bombs by aircrafts and dropping it here through their aircraft carriers is going to change the regime, which did not really happen. And number two is that they thought that they can make a decision out of this bombing and other things. But then again, Iran shows resilience. USA and Israel wanted to fight the war in the Yar. Iran brought the war in Hormuz. Right. So once Hormuz is blocked every time, in one side Iran is blocking, and again the US naval blockade is also there. So to my understanding, considering the elections, midterm election in USA and the election in Israel, right now already this has turned into a protracted war, but a pattern is already revealed, that it is a controlled escalation they are playing. So neither Iran is crossing Atlantic and going to bomb USA, nor USA is bringing their land forces to invade Iran. So it is becoming a localized conflict so far. And to my understanding and to the understanding of war studies and military analysts is that Iran has shown so far better resilience than anyone ever before. Because fighting against US forces and prolonging for 6 months and still showing that they can still fight and still no US boots on Iranian soil, that gives an idea that Iran is actually managing it better than perhaps USA. Because USA is losing a lot of their missiles to shut down cheaper Shahed drones of Iran. That is already taxing them a lot. And just the way my co-guest here in this program said, that almost over 70% of US citizens are now questioning that why should they send their tax and allow USA to help Israel to bomb in Gaza or in Iran. So this is the overall situation, but thing is that recently I'll draw your kind of attention to the Makkah Pact, which has happened between Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Some corner is telling that it is protection against Iran for Saudi Arabia. Whatever may be the case, we need still some more time to ascertain that what happens. But the slowly and gradually the war is escalating around the region, because Saudi Arabia is attacking the Houthis and Iran is trying to save its proxies. So this is a very delicate time we are moving through. To my prediction, if you say a bit early prediction, for next 3 to 6 weeks, USA is perhaps going to show its posture that something he will do. Donald Trump can do really. He can kidnap Venezuelan president along with his wife.
Correct.
He can kill the supreme leader on the very first day of the war. Even he can again start bombing Iran or bringing the troops on Iranian soil. But to my understanding, it's going to be a deadlock for another 3 to 6 weeks ahead. Thank you.
Of course, excellent responses coming from Delij Khan in the studio, really breaking down this charade of weeks of fighting between the various nations we mentioned. And as we were discussing regarding Iran and its European strategic points, earlier on last month we have seen a Ukrainian drone attacking a commercial Iranian vessel, and that is the involvement of Europe coming into the scene as well. Before I go into that centric, I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes regarding California, because its governor Gavin Newsom and the current US President Donald Trump are engaged in a high-profile political rivalry. Newsom frequently positions himself as a leading national democratic resistance figure against Trump's policies, while Donald Trump targets California over immigration, governance and ongoing federal investigations. This is definitely a local political scene coming from the United States of America. I want to get the comment of Norman. How do you see this, as Gavin Newsom says he will run for the presidential election in 2028? So there is some kind of friction with that state. Would you agree with my statement, Norman?
Yes, there's friction, but more so it's a distraction from what is really going on. There's a long history of the Trump administration disdainment for the great state of California and its Governor Newsom. So anytime there's an opportunity to jab or poke at California and the governor, our president and administration will take that opportunity.
Of course, and as I was mentioning earlier, excellent response coming from Norman, that a wider war seems to be very possible in this scenario. The news that suggests today Iran is weighing strikes on US military targets in Europe if the war escalates. According to the Financial Times, Iran is considering striking US military assets in Europe if US President Donald Trump chooses to escalate the war. On the other side, Bulgaria, a European nation, is stepping up security at various air bases amid reported of this kind of Iranian threat, according to Interior Minister Ivan Demirchiev, according into inside Bulgaria. So asking in the studio with Delij Khan, this has gone far beyond the Middle East. China seems to be trying to expedite or exploit the Arctic Circle route. Economy has been in a complete disaster. Bangladesh's issue regarding not having enough energy to provide the entire nation, 200 million people, only in our nation. But how would you feel if this escalation went on towards Europe, between Iran and Europe? And of course, Europe must understand that the Caspian Sea really connects Russia and Iran together. It's an important waterway once again to the north of Iran. How would you see a wider war with Europe?
Before we comment on that, we need to understand the context and the ongoing considerations as well. Number one is that so far the two theater of war was different. Like in Middle East, Iran was fighting against USA and Israeli coalition forces, and in the other hand, Russia was fighting against Ukraine.
Right.
But suddenly we can see that there is a deliberate attempt to bring those two theaters together, and we find that there are some connectivity coming, because Ukraine is trying to hit the logistic ships of Iran. Iran is trying to create some retaliation on Saudi Arabia, and initial understanding was that these two theater of battle will be separated because Russia was fighting against Ukraine, and USA was also interested strategically that Russia remains busy with Ukraine. Russia was expecting USA to remain busy with Iran.
Right.
And China is right now, I think, in the helm of affairs. He is controlling a lot of things, because you see, for last 50 years or so, or more than that, China has not shot a single bullet in any of the part
Absolutely
of the world.
correct.
So it has conserved its combat power. It has also conserved its energy. Before even 50 years, they have started digging big wells where they have stored their fuels.
Crude oil, yes.
Crude oils. And also they have tried to negate and avoid totally or bypass the Malacca dilemma. What they did,
Right.
they started Gadar port and then having a connectivity through Pakistan, Balochistan in fact. They have also tried in Myanmar, whereas Kayakpo is another point through which they are taking their energy through Arakan to China. So
Right.
it is making a lot of alternatives through its Belt and Road Initiative and string of pearls, so that Malacca dilemma can be avoided.
Right.
So he ensured it. More so, he has transformed his country into more on solar energy base. So thereby, energy hunger is a bit less for China right now, but it has got a lot of reserve in his hand. But problem is that, or maybe it is good for China, is that China did not directly send its troops in favor of any of his allies. It is not the way China deal crisis in the world. Russia is also expecting Chinese help, but it did not happen like that.
Right.
It's only USA. Every time Netanyahu calls, APEC comes to play, and he flies his jets against any of the country, is affecting the interest of Israel.
Right.
So in this scenario, Hormuz is still remaining, I think, locked for some more few days. And of course, there are Bab el-Mandeb and all other area where we are seeing that the choke points are slowly and gradually getting choked more and more, and the international civic and diplomacy is working less. And I should say this is started by USA. It has now invited, like how can you support a president with his wife is kidnapped? How can you support on the very first day, not being the military commander, you kill a spiritual leader of a country? So things are illogical and happening around the world. So right now we are passing a very volatile time where you may not expect even in the war Geneva Convention or something like that, nothing will work. It's the time when the superpowers maybe will try to brush their shoulders with each other, and the smaller countries and smaller states like Bangladesh will be suffering. You see, it's happening in Middle East, but we are suffering a lot. That is what we are going to see for some few more days ahead.
Excellent responses once again from Del H. Khan in the studio. It's time to take a short commercial break as we try to make sense of this new world order that has emerged in this year. This year started with the capture of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, and of course assassination of late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and because of which today we see this emerging world in which resources are very lacking, are very scarce, and people are affected all over the world, not only here in Bangladesh. Requesting my audience to stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panto.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being
To International Affairs. Here in the studio, I'm joined with Major Retired Del H. Khan as well as Norman Floyd Barnes, all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. We were, of course, discussing the worldwide situation in between Iran, US, and all the other allies in this state. However, I must bring into the news regarding Gaza. That is because consecutively 3 straight years in Gaza, it has been a very detrimental time for aid workers from around the world. In recent reports have been in the face of airstrikes. An Australian national was killed in the latest Israeli airstrike in the World Central Kitchen here in Gaza City, and it has taken the life of one Australian. Of course, Penny Wong, the Foreign Minister of Australia, has come to discuss whether or not there shall be a probe into this kind of heinous crime. I want to pass it to Norman Floyd Barnes. Really, son-in-law Jared Kushner has been in talks with Hamas and Israel to understand how the Board of Peace can actually operate, definitely under US President Donald Trump's orders. However, I want to ask you, sir, those in the line of fire, of course, they will face very bad conditions, but those trying to help them out, even they are met with conditions such as death as well. So I want to pass it to you, Norman, how you analyze this kind of situation. Both Israel and US have elections coming in October and November, respectively. Commentary from you will be helpful, especially regarding Israel. They are continuously bombarding various locations in Gaza. How do you see this kind of development, Norman?
yes, Israel is on a focused mission. They have I guess their goal, their aim is to completely eradicate the regions of their enemies and to annex more land and to claim the position as the dominant force in their region. Unfortunately, the Gulf states, Turkey, other countries are not up for that. They do not believe that is going to happen. They're not in support of that. So you're going to have conflict. You're going to have a gray wars. We're going to have silent conflicts. You're going to have outbursts, skirmishes, attacks, because there's no conversations about how do we get along. Not peace, but just how do we mitigate? How do we get along? There's no plans. Our leaders in that region are hell bent on getting their way, which means no one gets their way. There's not going to be any type of complete domination. If that was the case, it would already have been done. So the ability to dominate one group, one region, one country, one religion is not going to happen, either in Gaza or the Middle East. It's impossible for that to happen. So we go along, we're contented with these proxy wars, these skirmishes, these acts of violence, this senseless killing of innocent citizens is continue to go on as the world watch. The United Nations has not responded to any of this. Honestly, I don't think they have a response for this. This is something that's patience. People are believing now that patience is what we need to see how this thing is going to work out. But the solution lies in the problem, and the problem lies in the solution. It's all in the region. They have to decide how they're going to get along and how they're going to comfortably coexist. You're not going to replace one with the other. That is not going to happen. So why are we still in this turmoil? Gaza, we've been talking about for a long period of time. It's supposed to have been a agreement. There's supposed to be an exchange. They basically totally annihilated the country, decimated to the point where it's unlivable for anybody to be there. The Palestinians are suffering. The Israelis are in question about what is their real purpose, the people. What is this going to work? They have elections coming up. Do our leaders we have in place, are we comfortable with them completing the task, or should we change and do something different? It's unlikely that there are going to be any changes in Israel until their mission, what they feel is their mission, is accomplished. I don't know how that's going to happen, because in order for they to have their complete confidence, they will have to eliminate everybody in the region, because they fear everyone, that everyone is trying to be their enemy, trying to get rid of them. And at the same time, we have to find a way if they want to stay in the region, if they want to live peacefully, generationally, they have to find a way to live with their neighbors.
Right. Coexistence and themes of resilience coming from Norman Floyd Barnes. Really, I wish and I hope leaders would also see to the eye-to-eye opinion as Norman Floyd Barnes was just delivering. Some of the data I will now read alongside for our viewers. More than 1,000 aid workers from various parts of the world has been killed over the past 3 years, according to the UN humanitarian chief. And the story regarding Australia, as I was reading, Penny Wong, and in her words, she has said, Australia is outraged. The Israeli government has decided not to pursue criminal proceedings against those responsible of killing Zomi Francom, an Australian national, and her World Kitchen, Central Kitchen colleagues, which Penny Wong stated at the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC. Coming to the studio with Del H. Khan. This kind of news that is coming in, and I know that you have mentioned the Mecca Defense Pact that came amongst a NATO ally, Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. And of course, we must understand regarding Israel, what they're really trying to accomplish. People have been killed. It is a war zone. It's a genocide. The ICJ has condemned Benjamin Netanyahu as a criminal in this regard. And the commentary from Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir had said that 30 to 40 Palestinians should be eradicated every night. This kind of heinous commentary coming in, world leaders are condemning him for these kind of comments. Just to get a note from you, how do you see this kind of build-up, especially as well with the Defense Pact that has just happened?
Thank you. At the very outset, I express my condolence for the fallen humanitarian worker from Australia. And as you have already mentioned, the numbers, it's on the rise. Things happening in Gaza is a true example of a total injustice. Gaza has turned into a synonym of injustice in the new lexicons. So you see, whatever you want, whatever crime you want, you will find in Gaza. Ethnic cleansing, encroaching the land, and then genocide, apartheid, everything. Every bad words you will find there. But I see a paradigm shift in the global order. And it is happening because there are reasons to happen this shift. Like you see, we fully understand from Bangladesh how Israel is encroaching Palestine. Because in 1947, India got independence. In 1948, Israel got independence. Since 1947, India has annexed Goa colonies, then Kashmir, then Hyderabad, then Sikkim.
Right.
And they were eyeing on Bangladesh also. In the same way, Israel was annexing parts and creating settlement and everything. And there is a very interesting affinity between these two strategies they are following. Both are against Muslims. So I do not want to go that part, but at the end of the day, religion or theology matters. Because at some point of time, when people do not get any logic why Trump is supporting Netanyahu, they find that, okay, either it's Epstein-file or religion, somewhere or other. But unfortunately, we all three are from Abrahamic path.
Right.
So now coming to the question of Australia. Australia so far did not or could not participate strongly and actively in this Middle Eastern crisis. You see, United Nations is a failed organization right now.
Everyone would agree.
Why? You see, it is called United Nations, but there is no representation of Australia within the Big Five. It doesn't have any representation of Africa in the Big Five, neither Latin America. How it can be a United Nations? So, it's only that Big Five having nuclear capacity that makes them the leader of the peace.
Right.
That's sad. So, even UN has got its own mission in Gaza, and UN staffs are also killed by Israeli attack before.
Correct.
No one could do anything. So it seems that Israel has crossed all the lines where you can pose on humanitarian ground or logic or anything, and the world is now seeing things differently. So earlier we have also seen regarding this Gaza crisis, there was a media, I should say, treachery, and also the right word will be, in a planned way, they were trying to misguide the audience regarding what is happening in Gaza. So nowadays, because of the availability of internet and open source, people are now seeing things differently. Even in USA, even in Europe, they are seeing things differently, and Mr. Netanyahu is going to face another election very soon, and people have already started saying that ex-chief of staff of Israel is now contesting against him this election, and perhaps we are going to bid farewell to Netanyahu. But question is that if Netanyahu goes, will Israel come back to reality? That is the question.
Of course, excellent takes, especially regarding Israel, and of course, important messages coming from Delhi Khan, especially regarding information. There was a time just this year that we've seen ministers in Israel stating that Qatari-based national television channel Al Jazeera should be banned and its broadcasting should be banned in Gaza and as well in various parts of Israel. With that being stated, it is time for a short commercial break. Afterwards, we will be looking at news pertaining to our region here in Bangladesh today. A historical event is taking place as we are holding presidential elections in first contested vote in 35 years. I request our audience to stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement.
They will face
The last segment of International Affairs at this program right here, we have been talking about the warlike centric from all around the world, politics and geopolitics, how it makes sense to the common folk, and why we should be continuously focusing on this type of discussions for the betterment of humanity. Yet we see that in Bangladesh it is holding a contested presidential election in 35 years with the ruling Bangladesh Nationalist Party candidate Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir pitted against former army officer Oli Ahmed, the nominee of the Jamaat-e-Islami-led 11-party opposition alliance. That's a local news pertaining to Bangladesh and Bangladesh's constitution. However, we see and we learn our relationship with our neighbor. As latest as August the 5th, we have received and delivered, the Foreign Department here in Bangladesh delivered the strongest rebuttal to India. And of course, our Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has laid out very bluntly his conditions for for the necessary steps needed for him to visit India. I know that you have a decorated military career as well. I want to ask you how you see the future of this region. Energy has been a very big crisis in Bangladesh as of today. We see that the Accelerate LNG terminal is once again shut. It is front page news on today's newspapers as well. How do you see the future of this kind of region?
Thank you very much. If I recollect correctly, one is presidential election, another one is Tariq Rahman's India visit and energy crisis in Bangladesh.
Right.
Let me start with the presidential election.
Please.
You see, in Bangladesh, if you follow the constitutional rules are laid down, so the rule is that a member of the parliament cannot vote against his own party decision. That is Article 70. So now there will be polling between 349 member of the parliaments. Out of those, 247 belongs to BNP. So we all know the result already.
Yes.
Whoever is nominated by BNP is the president eventually. So this is actually a futile exercise. And
right.
I think if we would have been in the right set of mind, we could just declare it.
Right. Without wasting any further time.
Exactly, because you are going to give an open votes, so a party will know whom you have given vote, and you cannot vote against your party. If it was a sealed vote and anonymous, then perhaps you could expect something else.
Right.
So that is a done deal. Now regarding I should say the feasibility of Mr. Tariq Rahman to visit India.
Right.
We want to clarify one thing, and from our party, Janata Dal, as I am the spokesperson of the party as well, we always say that it's not India, neither the people of India is our enemy. It's only the Indian hegemony which we do not want. Who wants? Anyone wants to have a hegemonic neighbor like this?
No.
No one. And the Indian hegemony is very clear. They have stopped all the rivers and stopped water, and they are conducting a planned water terrorism against Bangladesh since or before 1971. So this is number one. They need to stop that. In Europe, we are seeing that they are destroying their dams. Why? Because dams were created at some point of time for energy, to be very specific, to produce electricity. Electricity can be produced through solar option right now. So if Bangladesh offers that we are going to give you the money for the electricity you need, will they break or destroy the dams? That is a question number one.
Right.
Number two, another Indian hegemony is that they have laid down 4,096 kilometers of barbed wire and fencing along the border.
Right.
They have all the right to do that. They are expert, in fact, in the world. India is the expert in fencing border, and also they are expert in killing innocent Bangladeshi in the border. Not only they kill Bangladeshis, they also hang them in the fence to show that they can do this.
Right.
Like 007, the James Bond, they seem that BSF, their border forces, are having the license to kill Bangladeshi at any point of time. And you see, there must be a clear instruction from central government to the BSF that you are allowed to shoot at sight. So that's they are doing. And another thing is that in every political development and everywhere, India is actually disturbing Bangladesh. Who created Shanti Bahini? Who weaponized them? Who provided fund to them? And who provided shelter to them? Why India is the country every Bangladeshi criminal can go and take shelter? Why India is a country where every ill politicians can go and take shelter? Why Sheikh Hasina cannot be returned? And why Sheikh Hasina is allowed to give a speech where no diplomatic respectful country allows these sorts of practices. Okay, so Bangladesh has all the reasons, and there are I think a deficit of trust between these two countries, and it is all created by India, not us. So having said that, now we are coming to the energy area,
Right.
as you asked. So Bangladesh is now going through a transition. We are just relieved of a fascist and fascism, and fortunately or unfortunately, this government has got an absolute majority in the parliament. So in this scenario, if they are not derailed, the way I believe is that once you have absolute majority, it makes the government authoritarian. Once you become authoritarian, then slowly and gradually you turn into a fascist. So it's on Mr. Tariq Rahman's onus. He will actually ensure us that is he going to be a dictator at the end of the tunnel. So regarding the energy crisis, I would urge upon the government that right now, considering the global energy crisis and the scenario, you see the rich segment of the society and the oligarchs in Bangladesh, they have reserved to sustain. Whatever disaster you bring, whatever economic situation you bring, they have always some option to survive. But the mid-income group and the lower mid-income group, they are very, very vulnerable. They have already exhausted their reserve.
Right.
Government should focus on them. I don't want a corridor with China right now. I want China to help me that my low-income group is fed. They are getting education. They are living. I do not want a war tomorrow with anyone like Myanmar or India. I want that all priority and funds should be given for the livelihood of our people. Once the people are happy, no one in Bangladesh asks that how happy we are. Even in Bhutan, people say that there is a happiness index. We do not have, unfortunately. Don't we deserve to become happy?
Of course, of course.
So I would request the government to save the energy or to rebuild the entire infrastructure of energy in Bangladesh. We are not a seagoing nation. We are not expansionist. We are very happy with ourselves. So invest behind human. Make them skilled. We have huge population. Make them skilled for global labor market. Send them abroad. Let them send revenues and remittances. A man without skill going abroad sending $1 as a remittance, a man with due skill going abroad will send $5 as remittance. So that should be our priority. We should focus on solar and other local energies. We should shorten our supply chain length so that our dependency is reduced. And because of the sovereignty, because India is showing that hegemony, we need to train our people, especially up to 18, beyond 18 years, every man should be trained to become a soldier in case of a necessity. Thank you.
Of course, excellent responses coming from Major Retired Del H. Khan. I thank you for being on the program today. Very important insights as you've delivered alongside various lines of local and international importance. With that being stated, I also want to thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us from Washington, District of Columbia, with the viewpoint and perspectives of Washington as well. With that being stated, I'm signing off on International Affairs. I shall see you all on next week's installations, as this episode can be seen on our Facebook handles on social media as well. Until then, goodbye. I shall see you all next week.